Hey friend, Colin here from Sumthins Recording, and today I'm going to show you how to mix vocals to really sound up front in your tracks. I'm going to start by playing the final mix for this song here so you can hear how our vocal sits inside the track here. Then I'll solo it up. You can hear our final product for our vocal mix, and we'll dive into all the plugins and processing we're using to get this upfront tone. So here's our vocal inside the finished mix. So you can hear our vocal is nice and bright. It's cutting through in the mix here, but it's not at all harsh and it's not at all brittle. And that's the key to getting our vocal louder and getting it up front in the mix. If our vocal is even the slightest bit harsh, it has some brittle, pokey frequencies that are jumping out, it's going to make your vocal sound louder on its own, and you're going to have to pull it back to get it to sit right in the track. So it's not harsh and it's not hurtful for your ears. If you can get rid of all of that, get rid of all those frequencies that are jumping out, notch them down, then you can pull your vocal up louder and get it up front in your track. Let me A/B the processing here on our vocal, and you can hear the before and after. Listen for these frequencies, these harsh frequencies that I'm talking about here. So all our plugins are in, then I'm going to take them off, hear how our vocal gets harsh, it gets brittle, and it sounds louder. With these plugins in, with those frequencies gone, our vocal is way smoother, drastically smoother, and drastically easier to listen to and pull up inside the track. So let me take off all the plugins and we'll go through the processing we're using to get this vocal sitting up front in this track. Now I know this first EQ looks really scary here. There's a lot of cuts and a lot of frequencies going on here. We're going to turn everything off, just starting with a high pass filter. It's always what I'm going to first on a vocal is a high pass filter. I want to get rid of anything in the bottom end that doesn't need to be there, that's not contributing energy to our vocal. So without the high pass, and then I'll kick it in. Now I know after hearing these frequencies cut out, it's all you can really listen to is these notches that aren't there yet, but we got to get our high pass in place first so our vocal is pre-shaped so we know what area to focus on. If we have that low end in there, if that's not what we're attacking first, all of those frequencies are going to be there eating up headroom on our vocal. We need to get rid of that so we know what area, what frequency range of the vocal we're focusing on. So cleaning up that bottom end there, getting rid of any plosives, any big breaths, any air blasts going into the microphone, anything like that, getting rid of all of that right off the bat here. Now, I like to do this on the speakers in the room. Usually if you watch any of my mixing streams or anything like that, I'm mixing on headphones primarily, and then I'll switch to the mains here in the room to listen for harshness and to listen for problems in the mids and the high mids. That's where I'm getting these notches. That's where I'm finding these frequencies. So I'm going to hit play one more time, and we're going to look at our first one here. This is our biggest notch on the vocal. It's this guy right here at 3.99K. So I'll hit play. I'm going to boost this up, so be wary. It's going to get a little bit prickly here for just a second. So you can hear right there at that 3.99K, there's that whistly frequency when he hits some of these words as he's singing. It just jumps up. We get this really sharp peak, this really big blast at 3.99K, and it's harsh and it's brittle, it's prickly to the ears. We want to get rid of that so we can pull our vocal louder in the mix and it can be smoother. To find things like this, to find these frequencies, just grab a big notch like this. You can see the Q is all the way as narrow as possible. Just boost up and move your notch around. till you hear something that's jumping out. Now, obviously, when you boost something up like this, any frequency you hover over is going to get louder, but it's when you find one that's really harsh and really hurtful like that, you want to identify it and notch it out. So I'm going to hit play again. We're going to pull this guy back here.
So hold tight, oh baby, hold tight. Oh, she said, all night, oh, every night.
Already, just the one notch going in, we're pulling out almost 14 dB here, so it's a really big cut. But remember, we're very narrow, so we're only pulling out the problematic frequency here. We don't want to affect anything else around this frequency because this is a very important frequency range on the vocal. It's what helps it cut through the mix, but we need to get rid of anything that's harsh so we can set our vocal where we need it. And just this one cut here is already smoothing out the high mids on our vocal. But you can hear there's one more frequency that's jumping out here in the high mids. So let's take care of it and let's find it. That's this guy right here at 3.48K. I'm gonna hit play. I'll boost this up. You can hear the frequency I'm talking about, and then I'm gonna pull it back down.
All night, oh, every night. So hold tight, oh baby, hold tight. Oh, she said, all night, oh, every night. So hold tight, oh baby, hold tight. Oh, she said, all night.
So just pulling that one area out, 3.48K, pulling that out by about 10 dB, drastically fixes our vocal tone here. Now we have the nice energy from the high mids without it being harsh and without it being pokey for our listener's ear. Same way here, you can just boost that frequency up, sweep around till you find it. You can see both of them are kind of sitting on different vowels. Our first one here was sitting more on the eyes when he's saying things like night, and then this other frequency here when he was holding higher notes on an open O vowel, all night, hold, stuff like that, where it's hold and open O, pulling that out is where it was ringing there. We have one more that's a little bit lower. Usually your problem frequencies are going to be up here in the high mids. There was one that was sitting down towards the low mids, or the mid-range here, not the low mids. We're at 1.49K, only pulling out about 7.5 dB here. So take a listen to this one.
All night, oh, every night. So hold tight, oh baby, hold tight. All night, oh, every night. So hold tight, oh baby, hold tight.
It was just something lower that was sitting on some of the open O's. Is it even, sometimes it could be an octave. It's not quite an octave there from our higher one on the open O's, but there was just something wonky in the mid-range there, so just notching that frequency out as well. Now, once we get this taken care of, we can go about our normal vocal processing here. So I'm going to go forward here. We're going to throw our compressor on, and you want to go back and tweak here. So once you get your compressor on and your vocal sitting where it should volume-wise, you have it evened out, you want to go back to your first EQ and make sure none of those frequencies have jumped up in volume and they've become problematic again. So I'm going to kick the compressor in. We're going to make sure everything is okay here.
All night, oh, every night. So hold tight, oh baby, hold tight. Oh, she said, all night, oh, every night.
Cool, doing our normal about 7 dB reduction here with our 1176. 0.55 milliseconds on the attack here, all the way fast on the release, 50 milliseconds 4:1. Just doing about 7 dB reduction there. Now I'm going to go back, I'm going to get my high boost in place. Add some top end air to our vocal here. 3 dB at 8K, just going to brighten the vocal overall.
All night, oh, every night. So hold tight, oh baby, hold tight. Oh, she said, all night.
Great, makes our vocal just sound a little bit prettier here, gives it that top end air that we want to hear, accentuates that back end of breaths and words. We want to get our de-esser in now. This will also help with anything that's above in that 4K area. It'll make sure everything's sitting even there and there's no frequencies that are just kind of jumping up and getting harsh there. Our de-esser, just looking at that 4K area and above, 20-to-1 ratio, fastest attack, fastest release. Just going to grab some of that sibilance range here.
All night, every night. So hold tight, ooh baby, hold tight. Oh, she said, all night.
Not doing very much work at all. Sometimes as you pull out harsh frequencies, you'll end up grabbing any S's, anything that's jumping out in the sibilance range as well. So just there, a little bit of safety at the end of the chain. Now, once we've got everything in place, I do like to flip back to the mains here in the room. So I'll be mixing through on headphones, getting everything in place. Once I get my vocal set here, I do like to do one more pass on the mains and make sure I didn't miss anything, or that pulling in the compression and top end boost and de-essing didn't exaggerate any frequencies that we had taken care of. So I pull in one more EQ. I'll also use this to boost any bottom end that I need to bring back, into our vocal. If there's any body that's missing, I'll use this final EQ to pull that in here. And then if there's any harsh frequencies that I missed or that have started to pop out post-compression, I will attack those here. So there's one more frequency sitting in between these two guys here. So we are at 3.5 and about 4K. There's one sitting at about 3.78K, just pulling out about 7, almost 8 dB here. So take a listen, and I'll boost this up. You can hear where this is sitting, and I'll pull it back out.
So hold tight, ooh baby, hold tight. Oh, she said, all night, every night. So hold tight.
Hear how smooth our vocal is now in that high mid area. So it's not harsh there anymore. It's not brittle. There's nothing poking out. Our vocal is smooth all the way across that board there, all the way up to the top end. We've got our boost, we've got our de-esser, we've got our notches, making sure our vocal is ultra smooth so we can pull it up and we can set it on top and up front in this track. So let's drop it back into the song here. We'll throw our reverb back in as well. You can hear how our vocal is sitting inside the track. So the key to getting your vocal up front and to sit on top of your mix is finding, identifying, and getting rid of any harsh or pokey frequencies. I like to do it right at the beginning of the process. I get my high pass in place, and then I go hunting for anything that's harsh. I like to do it on the mains here in the room, any speakers that are going to give you more mid-range. I'll find those frequencies that are harsh, and I will notch them out. You can see our Q is all the way up. I just want to pull out those specific frequencies. I don't want to hurt anything else about our vocal. Then I'll go through my normal vocal processing, compression, top end boosts, de-essing, and again at the end of the chain, I will look for anything that's harsh on our vocal. So pulling out one more frequency here at the end of the chain, that lets us set our vocal louder in the track and make sure it sits on top and up front in our mix. I hope that was helpful for you. If you are looking to go a little bit deeper into the mixing process in its entirety and really start to hone your workflow as an audio engineer, then I have just a tool for you, and it is completely free. It is my 7-step mixing checklist, and it's just a simple PDF guide that will walk you through the entire mixing process, step by step, to help you get professional and radio-ready mixes without any more of the guesswork. Completely free to download, and you can get access to that by clicking the link below in the video description. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.